Welcome back to Command West, a Commanders podcast where we tackle the latest Washington football team news and answer the hard-hitting questions like, how much time does Ron Rivera have left in Washington? I'm Bradley.
I'm Tico.
I'm Eddie.
I'm Donnie.
And we'll cover that and much more on today's episode of Command West. Welcome. How are we feeling, gentlemen?
I think maybe we got some ranting to do. I think maybe we I personally I'm feeling some upset about that game. It was hard to watch.
Yeah, I'm tired, man. I'm tired.
I'm deflated.
Yeah. It's just it felt like it went wrong on every avenue, and we've seen it before. You know, like if we're seeing it, is the coaching staff not seeing it? Are they not making adjustments? It doesn't feel like there's any adjustments being made. I'm seeing the same stuff over and over.
And not just over and over this season. It's been multiple years of this. That's why it just feels like it's just not going to change with the people in charge right now. That's my feeling about this. It's just we have to at a certain level, it's a player issue, right? But we have a much more talented roster than the Giants do. And we have a much more talented roster than a lot of teams. And we are, it's just the production isn't on the field.
Yeah, and you posed the question, how much longer does Ron have? Ron's a dead man walking. I mean, if that wasn't known after Chicago game, that's known now. My guess is the new ownership will let him run out the season, but the Monday morning after the last game of the year, they're not going to hesitate to pull that trigger. He's gone.
All right, so let's say in the scenario of this, does Rivera, let's say Rivera and Bieniemy win this weekend at Philly. All of a sudden, does that change anything in the decision making? Or are we just going to chop everybody at the neck and start over?
If you wanted to keep your job, it's not about beating a Philly team that's like that we are able to beat, right? Like it's not about coming out and like winning a game that you're not supposed to win. Like we do that every year.
It's going to happen. Yeah.
It's going to happen. I fully expect us to do that this season. Like Cowboys Thanksgiving is on the table for a game we could win. Miami is a game we can win. There's games that we will win on this schedule that are left that we have no business winning. But it's about beating the teams that you should beat to put yourself in a position to make the playoffs at the end of the season. And we haven't taken advantage of two of the worst teams in the league.
Yeah.
Two of the worst,
but we're probably
two of the three worst, or two of the first.
We are one of the three worst teams in the league right now.
That's clear now.
Yeah,
that's clear now. Here's the upsetting thing to me. I agree with you, Bradley. It's been going on for 4 years, except for Eric Bieniemy. I had these high hopes for Eric Bieniemy, and I know a lot of us did. And as I think as recently as last week's show, I said, let's be patient with Eric Bieniemy. He hasn't called plays before. He's still learning too.
I don't know why they wouldn't put Bieniemy in the position that he does well. He was doing it at KC just as an offensive coordinator.
He wasn't. Yeah, that's right. He wasn't calling plays. We need somebody to call plays because Ron's.
Right, but why can't Rivera call plays?
He's a defensive-minded guy. He can't call plays.
And there we see they're both going to be gone.
I feel they're all going to. The whole staff's going to be gone. I feel bad for Eric Bieniemy because I think he came here thinking I'll prove myself as a play caller and I'll either move up in Washington or I'll get an opportunity to be a head coach somewhere. And I think now, not only is he not going to move up in Washington, he's trouble finding a job in the NFL.
Well, that's the thing. He's looking for a better job. It's hard to leave. It's hard to leave one place on a bad note and go to a place and get a better offer or even equal offer. It's not happening.
Yeah, he's got to prove himself against somewhere because he's not proving himself.
Well, somebody might take him as an offensive coordinator for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I think Andy Reid will take him back in a heartbeat. Matt Nagy is kind of
who did take his place?
Matt Nagy.
But Andy Reid's still calling all the plays over there in Kansas City, right? Yeah.
All right, so let's just wait a second. For the fact that we know that Philly pretty much ranked number 1 in the league right now, and they are. And they're on a high point. I heard they just put another safety in there. That's another killer guy.
Yeah, but
So, you know, I
They're
mean, all
making
the things
moves.
that you think, okay, so we lose that game. It's a given. Anyone would potentially going up against them is not favored. So they go into it, we lose the game.
Mhm.
Now the key is, okay, for Rivera's still there because they can't make a decision quick enough. We're going to go into New England against Buffalo. I'm not sorry,
Against the
against
Patriots.
the Patriots. And now we've got to go up against Belichick, who's got the worst record he's ever had in his career. And you don't think that game is going to set, you know, Bieniemy and Rivera packing if they lose that one?
Well, you can't just, you know, come in and add another disruption to a team that's been full of. You could do anything you want if you're the owner, but
He's new owner. You can, Josh
But-
Harris, like, I can do whatever I want.
I mean, things are better since Ron has been there compared to what they were before, just in terms of respect
As a
No
culture,
of the
as
man.
a culture, they are.
yeah,
I
absolutely.
exactly.
give him all the props for that.
That's what he's done here.
Mhm. And
But yeah, but what about
and to
the
clean up a
morale?
team that's been as bad as Washington? I don't know. I don't think it's an easy feat.
No, it's not.
No.
it's
Oh.
not.
You know.
It's not.
It's
And if it
commendable.
were easy in the league, Cleveland would have won a Super Bowl by now.
Yeah.
I just don't think the expectations of in the locker room right now. I don't think there's a good vibe going on, and Rivera has to be the guy to do that.
Jonathan Allen proved that.
He's not calling plays, Rivera. So he's got to go in there and do what a head coach does, which is motivate these guys in some
Mhm.
way to get out of their funk, because we have a great team that has no glue. There's nothing holding it together. There's no team like cohesiveness. Plenty of talent, no cohesiveness.
Here's the
Yeah.
problem. So I think that you're right, Dad. I think that they're going to let him play out the season. The only and here's what is kind of the bummer of a thing is I believe that we need to kind of rebuild right now.
Mhm.
Like we just need to start a rebuild,
Yeah.
which is again is a bummer because we just paid 2 D linemen a lot of money. We just paid Terry a lot of money. By not getting rid of everybody in the middle of the season, it sets you back a little bit because we have some high caliber players that are at the end of their contract this year. And if we get rid of them after at the trade deadline, which is right after Philly, we could potentially have some, you know, some more draft capital or, you know, some more space to add some more players.
Mm.
And I'm not saying that that's not going to happen because of the current regime, but I think it's much less plausible because they're like, we're done anyway. Who cares?
Right.
You know,
right.
like Marty Herney and Martin Mayhew, who are our managerial staff, you know, the head of our managerial staff, they're done too. So it's
Right.
like, you know, they're the ones who are conducting trades and getting calls and stuff, who, you know, are shopping around Montez Sweat and Chase Young. But if they're done too, why does it, who cares to them? You know, why does it matter to them?
Because they all know, whether it's the general managers or the coaching staff, I think they know they're done. They know they're dead men
They
walking.
gotta know. But
Yeah.
also, I thought they had to know that the Giants were going to blitz and that they were going to play man coverage. And they didn't clearly have no idea that was going to happen. So maybe I overestimate the wherewithal. Maybe they're just kind of flying by the seat of their pants, have no idea what's going on around them. So,
oh man!
But I know as much as we would love to keep, you know, our top defensive line, Sweat and Young, those are the guys that are on the potential trade thing. But I don't think it'll happen before the trade deadline in 2 weeks or whatever.
well,
for Philly.
but Eddie, their contracts are done with us at the
Yeah,
end.
they are. So these guys.
So if they're not traded by the deadline, they just walk away for free.
Yeah,
we don't get anything for them.
Wow.
And from them, to be completely honest, because what have they done?
Will teams come forward and start making offers?
They already have.
I thought so.
I'm
But
sure
they're too good to
phone-
let. They're too good
Right.
to let go. We can't let them go. As much as I'd like to trade for an offensive duo that was first round or second round, that would be great. But
We can't let them go. Why? Because we need them for this season. This
mm,
season ain't happening.
yeah, might as well.
Well, okay. How many games are we into? We've done 7 games,
7.
right?
7 games,
almost
And
halfway through.
we're 4-3. We're 3-4.
3 and 4.
So that means we got 10 games left,
Mm-hmm.
which hypothetically we could end up 10-7.
Yeah, but that's
Yes.
Hypothetically.
I mean, hypothetically, we could win every other game this season.
That's right. So
that's a nice goal.
But what
this
happens with
this
that Chico?
season, well, this is something we have to think
If we
about.
go 10-7, what then? What?
Well, think about this. If anybody's ever broken up with a relationship, you've spent so much time getting to know this person, and you decide this is not the person. But what happens is now you go back out into the world, and what do you have to do?
Find a new
Just
person.
start dating again.
Baby.
And it
Trust
sounds
me.
glamorous sometimes, right?
No, that sounds horrible to me.
Yeah.
I don't want to do this. This is not something that I'm happy about at all.
Nobody
Right.
wants to go out and start
So
chasing.
what I heard you saying, Bradley, was that we got to rebuild, right?
Yeah.
But this is part of the rebuilding. It's not like you rebuild and then boom, everything is together.
No.
No, it's a trend. It's
Mm-mm.
constantly
Mm-mm.
changing.
And that's
ebb
what
and
I'm worried
flow of
about.
Players and yeah.
Is I think that we probably won't see a good team on the field for 5 years, which is so hard.
But we
to
don't
believe.
know. We don't know. That's the thing.
But
We don't know.
But if you look at the NFL,
Friends.
that is the history of a rebuild.
Not necessarily. Sometimes a coach like a Kyle Shanahan or a Sean McVay come in and they seem to almost overnight put a whole new
Like
spark
that
on
spark.
things.
Mhm.
But how much is that just like coincidental luck?
Yeah.
Because
Well, they had
rare.
some good
Even if it's
players.
not luck, it's rare. It's very
It's
rare.
rare.
It's rare. It's rare, but it's
rare,
also
and it's more likely that someone like Nathaniel Hackett comes in and is fired after a year. Urban Meyer comes in and is fired after a year, or 2 years, or 3. Josh McDaniels, like these guys, it's kind of like a roulette with these coaches, and
like we've been playing for the past 2
like
decades.
we've been playing for the past 2 days. Eric Bieniemy, I think for Eric Bieniemy, for me, I kind of do feel like we haven't given him enough time, but it doesn't. That my opinion doesn't matter anymore. It's done.
well that sounds wise. I mean, the thing that Eric Bieniemy has that nobody else on this team has,
Is a Super Bowl
least-
win?
huh?
Is multiple Super Bowl wins?
Not only multiple Super Bowl wins, but 3 Super Bowl appearances
Yeah.
in the last 4 years.
Mhm.
There's
That's
in the last 4 years,
You mean the Patrick Mahomes show?
yeah.
Yeah. So
I mean, he
about that.
he took that offense, and he and Coach Reed, really, they were already good
Right.
when they had
there's,
Alex
there's
Smith.
exceptional talent. Which,
They were already good, but it's a great coach who's used to winning. He's one of the top winning coaches in the league. And they find this Patrick Mahomes guy who's exceptional at what he does.
Yeah.
And you
That's the
saw
key.
it almost immediately. It was not like a long time that went by.
No.
It was kind of like that last game where they pulled Alex Smith out, the last few games when they pulled Alex Smith out, you got it. Oh, okay.
Mhm.
And we kind of had that feeling with Sam Howell last year when we saw him in the Dallas game, right?
Mhm.
right.
This kid has something. But it just doesn't, you don't know when it's going to happen, when it can happen, if it can happen with this combination of people. And to not give it a chance, this team has just constantly been in a washing machine, in a spin cycle, people getting thrown out. There's been no continuity, for a long time. So I feel like this. We know we got good skilled players on offense. We know we need to create an offensive line that can protect the quarterback. We know that we need a defensive backfield that's been an Achilles heel for a long time. We know that we have some defensive linemen that are pretty good players. So it hasn't changed this in the time we've been watching this year. Those have been the sore spots. Is the offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see any holes. Like I saw no holes like almost the whole game. And I know you guys have been saying, we got to run the ball. We got to run. Where do you run? Into a brick wall?
Well, you don't keep starting in shotgun and running right up the middle. That's every run play was the same. That was part of my
The creativity with the run game is pretty lackluster.
It's terrible.
I was watching.
How do we know it's the creativity and not these guys can't block anybody?
Well,
when it's mono on mono on that front line. It's mono on mono.
I saw some good tape.
Fat guy against fat guy. Strong man against strong man.
I think a lot what I saw too with the blocking was that we would end up triple teaming a guy with two of our guys. So two guys are on one guy, and the other guy decides I'm going to block that one guy too. And next thing you know, the other guy comes running straight through, and he has a clear shot at Sam. And it was like it was happening all day long. Like if you're going to double team,
not playing as a team,
you do it right.
I mean, so I got a little bit of a math equation for you guys.
Okay.
One team, let's call them the Giants, has an O-line with one starter, two backups, and 3 third-string players on it. Okay. And the other team has a full O-line of starters, right? The team that had the full O-line of starters gave up 6 sacks. And the other team gave up 3 with all of those backups. Or 4, maybe it was 4. I think it was 3 or 4.
I think it was 3.
Now here's the question of the riddle. Whose fault is it? Is it the O-line's fault?
It's the whole organization for me.
I fully agree with you, Tico, because we have not had a good O-line since Ron got here. And guess what? When Philly, I'm going to use Philly because they are one of the best teams right now. They are paying a wide receiver who they didn't draft. They're paying a quarterback. They're paying all these guys and still have a great O-line. We have a rookie, basically a rookie QB. We're paying 2 D linemen and 1 wide receiver. That's who we're paying on our team right now. Everybody else has really small contracts. So we have so much money. Why do we not have a good line? Why are we not bringing in guys to play on the offensive line who are formidable? I'm not even asking for the Eagles O-line because they're all studs. I'm asking for formidable. We have one guy who's like pretty good. That's it.
Who is that?
We don't even have pretty good.
Who would you consider that
Sam
to be?
Cosme. I would consider to be pretty good, and he's been beat a lot this year too. But O-lines are supposed to help each other out. Like it's not just one guy just being like it is Tico, you said it's mono on mono. It's a full team though. Like they work together. You have to pass off your blocks. You have to hit it like Eddie was saying. There's 3 guys on one dude. That's not mono on mono. I know one thing.
Next week we better get ready for Thibodeau, number 5.
We just played Thibodeau.
Oh, that was on. I'm thinking he's on Philly.
Hassan Reddick.
No, I was thinking about Thibodeau again. Okay. I'm having nightmares about Thibodeau. He's going to be playing us every week.
He didn't do much. It was Dexter Lawrence just mauled Nick. Andrew White. No, it was our center.
Nick Gates.
Nick Gates, thank you. Nick Gates let in like 3 sacks by himself. And he was the guy that Eddie was talking about. I know 2 plays. where they were triple teaming one guy, Williams or Dexter Lawrence, one of the two, and then the other guy got through.
Mm.
I mean, it was just it's just pathetic. And
Also, here's another thing, Bradley. The penalties on the offensive line,
God.
man,
It was
just
terrible.
all over the place,
Agreed.
man. I mean, Charles Leno, it's like every game they're calling his name for penalties.
Mhm.
It's like
remember
they
when
were
we had
scared.
Trent Williams? Remember when we had Trent Williams?
Yeah.
Every year they were talking about he was a Pro Bowler.
right.
The offensive line doesn't get to shine.
He's an all he's a Hall of Famer. Is Trent Williams.
Yeah.
That doesn't. I mean, we knew his name.
Yeah.
The offensive lines
You
don't
don't
usually get that kind of
It's
shine.
true. That's
Just
true.
like
he also spent a
Kelsey.
lot of
We
time
know
in the
Kelsey's
bench.
name.
And Lane Johnson. There's two household names on the Eagles O line. It's just it's at a certain point. It's the same argument that I had with Cody Barton. It's the poor guy. You know, he's doing his best, but he's just not that good. And it's at a certain point, it's not the player's fault for not being good. It's the coach's fault for putting him there and bringing him in it. You know, Charles Leno was a backup on the Bears. Like 5 years ago. He's 5 years older and he's starting. What do we expect?
Yeah, I mean, it's you know, you look around the league, people are not just giving up their great players without getting a chunk of money for them or something. The great players are not just getting moved around all the time. I'm surprised that AJ, what's his name for Philly, the wide receiver, AJ Brown. I don't know how the Titans gave him up. I guess they were in their rebuild phase.
They still are,
but it's like,
why would you traded a safety to Philly too?
So maybe they said, this is one of our star players. Watson is gone. DeAndre Hopkins is gone. All these great players they had on offense. Let's just. I'm thinking about the Titans. I'm mixing up the Titans and the
Texans.
And the Texans, but I'm all over the place today.
Which CJ Stroud looks great, and they're gonna build around him.
Yeah, so they probably traded AJ Brown and got some capital, some draft capital.
They got 2 first-round picks for AJ Brown.
So listen, guys, let's it's nice we all give our own perspectives. We got 4 perspectives here every week. This week we actually have a 5th perspective. Let's hear a little. Eddie's friend from New Jersey is a Giants fan. Eddie's friend
Harry, you're going to be
is
watching
a Giants
later,
fan,
so.
And he recorded his thoughts for us. And I thought maybe we'll take a few things that Harry said and just kind of see how they land, see what the Giants' perspective on how the Commanders are doing. And he recorded this after the game on Sunday, so he's got the right to do some smack talk, and he didn't much, but let's give a listen to. Oh, hold on, I got to share the audio here.
It's his first rodeo.
Let's give a listen to Harry here.
Hey guys, Harry from New Jersey here. Longtime friend of Ed's, longtime Giants fan, like 50 years. Great show. You guys have great chemistry. I have to say, I was a little offended a few weeks ago when you guys were talking about rivals. It was all Cowboys this and Eagles that. But the truth is the Giants have owned you guys for decades. And for the last 12 years or so, we haven't beaten anyone else. It's just Washington. But you see, this is what you get. Bad mojo. Another loss to the Giants. We played like crap, and you guys played worse.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong. I mean, he gets his little moment to brag in the sun. But we brought it up last week. I think Tico asked the question: how many games? What's our record against the Giants over the past 10 years? And we didn't quite have the answer at our fingertips. Going into that game, I looked it up. Going into that game, it was 6-13-1 over the past 10 years. Now it's 6-14-1. Right, exactly. So, what is it about the Giants that we can't? They do have our number. And Harry's right. The Giants are a bad team, and they've been bad. They for the past several years have been bad since the Eli days, and even at the end of the Eli days they were pretty bad. But they keep beating Washington.
You don't seem to have any way to put together a strategy in a new way against a team that always seems to smoke us. And they'll smoke us with second string quarterbacks. They'll smoke us with an offensive schoolyard full of guys for an offensive line. I mean, I think Harry's right on this. I mean, again, he did dig us a little bit because he's right. They own us all the time, but
he has the right to dig us after that game. You take your victory.
Maybe it's just part of the disease.
Yeah. I mean, I think that, at a certain point, I know in the last few years, it's been a really bad matchup for us. Like, we match up well against Philly. That's why we play them really well every year. I think the Giants have been a really bad matchup. I mean, Wink Martindale loves to blitz, right?
Yeah.
And especially Sam Howell, Taylor Heineke, our O-line has always been kind of a mess for the past couple of years, that their blitzes hit home a lot. Like, their defense seems to hurt our offense by blitzing a lot. And teams that are good at picking up the blitz can handle that, and we're terrible at that. Like, we are horrible at that. So I think that, on a certain level, it's a matchup thing that the style of play that we both have, they got our number, especially on defense. That's why it's so frustrating to me, being like, we know that.
We're supposed to know how to deal with that.
The whole league knows that. Wink Martindale's been in the league forever. That's why
and he makes no bones about it. Like, this is what I'm going to do. Beat me, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of teams can, because they're not that great, but we struggle.
They were 1-5 going into us.
All right, let's see what Harry has to say about Sam Howell.
I know you guys like Sam Howell. I know you do. And I just don't see it. He's supposed to be like 6'1", but I swear he plays shorter. There's two kinds of quarterbacks I don't like. One is short quarterbacks, and the other is Daniel Jones. Howell seems like he has to roll out just to see over the line, like Kyler Murray. And now the other guy, Bryce Young now too. They roll out and they get in trouble. Drew Brees was short, and it hasn't worked out for anyone else.
Russell Wilson. I will say
Grant Tarkenton.
Well, Russell Wilson for a little while.
What do you mean a little while? He was one of the best quarterbacks of my generation.
Until he went to
like the past 2 years. And he's old now.
Right. Okay, how about Purdy?
Purdy
is the identical size of Sam Howell. 6'1", 6'2", 220. Look at the difference.
I think that he's right. I mean, he does play. It's a good point. I think
I said it all the time,
but I also think that he always has a dude in his face. Pause.
Yeah, right, exactly. Sam Howell's the one part of the team I'm not ready to throw the towel in yet. I think he's got some development and with some more creative play design. I'm leaning on EB now, but with some more creative play design, I think he could. Real. I mean, look, he played a gutsy game. He took six sacks. Six sacks. He's getting his ass kicked, and he had the chance to win the game at the end. So and that pass was a little behind Dotson. Would like to have seen him make that catch. It would have been a spectacular catch.
And what kind of game are we going to win if we can only put 7 points on?
Yeah, no, you don't beat.
You don't. Look, if you keep your opponent to 14 points, you should win the game.
Right.
You should be able to score more than 14.
I got 2 things to say about Sam Howell. Because I'm not giving up on him at all yet. I think he's still. I think he can still be great. Number one is this was his worst game that I've seen from him. I went back and I watched the all 22s, which is the whole game film, and he missed. He was probably the most inaccurate I've seen him.
Yeah.
He missed some guys. I was honestly surprised. I was going back expecting there to be, to feel more skeptical about EB. And I was like, honestly, there was guys. I think what EB did badly was he didn't use the pressure against the Giants, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people talked about the screen game. I don't think it's all the screen game, but I also think it's also like Terry those 2 deep shots to Terry, they were there all game long. All game. And I saw Howell's first progression was on the other side of the field, every time. And I was like, damn, man, we should have gotten that going earlier. Because you bring all that pressure, It's one-on-one, and Terry's against a fucking rookie.
Right.
A rookie who played his ass off. Deontay Banks played his ass off. He was great. But Terry beat him so many times.
Right. But let's key on what the problem was. The average pocket time in seconds that he had was 2.3 seconds.
Right.
That's not a lot of time to
No.
get a guy
It
downfield.
wasn't. But I will say that watching the tape, I was more surprised with how it played than I thought. I thought he was like, oh my God, he was getting killed. There was no one open, blah, blah, blah. There was more openings than you think. He missed a lot of throws.
He did miss throws.
Yeah. The second thing I want to say is, unfortunately, I think with Ron Rivera, with everybody, it's a full sweep. And I don't think Sam's staying. I don't think that he has shown enough, to Eddie's point. I don't think he's shown enough in an NFL standpoint, not to the fans. The fans may say Sam is the guy. In an NFL standpoint, I don't think he's shown enough for the next regime to be like, I love this guy, let's keep him. Yeah. That's what I'm concerned about.
Yeah, I'm concerned about that too. I like to see Sam Howell stick around, but I think it's going to be a fire sale. Once they clean out the coaching staff and the management staff, new staff's going to bring in their own people.
What do you think, Tico?
I think he's the most solid thing we've had in a long time. When you talk about
I agree.
Alex Smith, you talk about Dwayne Haskins, you talk about
RIP.
Case Keenum, you talk about
Kirk Cousins.
Since Kirk Cousins.
Since
Yeah.
Kirk
Because
Cousins.
Kirk is doing
Since
better.
Kirk Cousins.
I know
Kirk
Kirk has
Cousins was the most solid quarterback
Yeah.
we've had
and he's
Yeah,
getting
he was.
progressively better with
since RG3's first season.
What a
It's-
win they pulled
It's
off.
been
was
RG3,
incredible win.
it's been Kirk Cousins, and then it was
And
and
then-
then it's been Sam. But Kurt was 2012.
Yeah.
No, he left in 15 though. He left in 2015.
Was it
Okay,
15?
what was our O line like? What was our
7
O
years.
line?
8 years?
What was our O line like when we had Kirk Cousins?
It wasn't great.
We had Trent Williams.
We had Trent Williams.
Yeah,
Yeah, but he was
Kurt,
either on the bench hurt or he was playing.
We had Brandon Sheriff and Trent Williams.
Kurt
Trent
got hit
Williams
a lot.
Always hurt.
Kurt still gets hit. Kurt still gets hit a lot.
Yeah.
He was, I mean, sometimes he delivers the ball and then takes a mean hit.
I know.
Kurt gets hit a lot.
Speaking
All
of
right.
hits,
We should
how
keep
many
it
hits
going
is
though. We should.
When's the
okay.
last
Okay.
time we went to the when we
Last time
were
went to the
close on the
playoffs
playoffs last year,
was-
right?
2020.
No, we
No,
went
oh,
with
that was when we played
Taylor
Brady
Heineke.
in Tampa Bay.
the legend of Heineke.
The legend of
Yeah.
Heineke began.
you know, we keep talking
And-
about Sam Howell and whether or not he's the guy. I'm going to predict by the 15th game he's going to be hurt. He can't take these shots anymore.
Well, he's got a tough body build.
He is tough. He
You're
is
right
tough,
though,
but-
Eddie.
but
It's not
I
a
could see that happening.
sustainable. It's not sustainable. It's not
Yeah.
sustainable.
Like-
the amount of sacks he's taking.
He's so strong and mentally tough that he doesn't show that he's hurt. He could be out there throwing balls with a friggin' star spinning around his head.
That's true.
Mm.
That's true.
I mean, we have
Yeah.
no idea, like,
Yeah.
what's
True.
going on. Like, he doesn't like to show what's going
Mhm.
on. He doesn't wear it on.
Which is something I love about him. But you're
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
Eddie.
Yeah.
It's just it's
I mean, you
scary.
keep going, oh, he missed that pass. He threw a bad one.
Yeah.
The guy just got fucking crushed by 4 guys.
On the first possession of the game.
I know.
Third
Sack,
play.
sack, sack,
Oh,
sack. 47 sacks later.
that's
Okay,
crazy.
you guys
You're
mentioned
right.
Terry McLaurin. Our buddy Harry has
All
something
right,
to say
let's
about
hear
our
it.
star players too.
You guys don't get enough production from your stars. Your wide receivers, McLaurin and Dotson and Samwell, would all start for the Giants, no question. Same thing with your defensive line. You guys have an enormous amount of money tied up there with basically replacement level results. Those 4 guys should have destroyed the Giants' offensive line, which was basically just a collection of street free agents. And they didn't. I don't know why. The Giants really wanted Chase Young, by the way. It was no secret at the time.
I mean,
Yeah.
he's spot on.
He's
Spot
right
on
on
analysis.
every point. You know, like we're not getting the production out of our star players. That and again, I like that he's he knows he's a Giants fan. Giants are no good either. And he says that our defensive line should have crushed that O line of replacements. Give me a break.
Here's a
Uh,
point that I actually thought was really interesting by Craig Hoffman. If you haven't checked him out, he's amazing. He's a beat reporter for the Washington Commanders. I listen to him all the time. There's a point about the coaching that I thought was really interesting, that he said a lot of teams have like, one or two guys on the D line that just are just animals. And then one or two guys that are anchor
Mhm.
guys. We don't really have an anchor guy. And this season, it has kind of become Jonathan Allen to be that anchor guy
Mm.
that kind of waits, kind of holds the line,
Mm.
and Jonathan Allen, that's not his strong suit. I mean, Jonathan Allen he's not the biggest dude. His strength is getting to the quarterback. But because everybody's going in, right? There's holes on our D line.
Right.
Quarterbacks are able to get around. I found that kind of interesting. Again, it's like we've bought 4 all-stars. You need the like supports, right? You can't just everybody go in and be like the guy, right? You can't have 4 guys.
So what do you
Or
what's
stars.
what's the role of the anchor? You're saying it's to not come in hard. It's to kind of
to hold the blocks, right? It's to get the double team. It's when the running back's coming towards they're taught to soak up bodies. That's literally a job. John Ridgeway, when we play 5 D linemen, he's our anchor. He's a big boy. You see him there. I mean, he's hard to miss. He soaks blocks up. He doesn't make a lot of plays. Actually, scratch that. He makes a lot of plays. He's a great player. But you see him, 2, 3 guys have to be on him or else he's going to make the play, right? There's a certain, just being a big body there's a certain love to that. And that's what we kind of drafted Deron Payne for. And honestly, it's been fantastic that he's been getting, more production than we thought, but he's actually becoming more of a sack guy than John Allen. And I just think it's bad planning from our coaching staff, to be honest.
Yeah.
Well, I think when somebody emerges, teams are just happy somebody emerged to do something. I mean, I don't, when I see Chase's numbers, 3 tackles the whole game, 2 of them were sacks, 3 of them were for losses, tackle for losses. 3 tackles. 3 tackles. Jonathan Allen, 3 tackles. 3.
I think
2 sacks is really good.
Well,
2 sacks is really
Chase
good,
Young
but
had
it's
a pretty
like,
good day.
Yeah.
it's
Well,
like
Young-
our sacks are coming not necessarily with wins, because the offense it's almost like they get nullified,
Right.
or they might get a sack and then they allow a first down on the next play.
Well, but that's a good point, Tico. It doesn't seem like we're winning off the line. It feels like when there's a sack, it's like, oh, the quarterback starts to scramble and like runs into a dude,
Right.
Chase Young, I feel like he gets to the quarterback. He actually, but the other guys are like, there's multiple times where he's sitting back there building a house, and then starts to panic, and then there's a sack.
Then
it's
Montez jumps in her.
yeah, it's like, why? You see dudes just fucking, I mean, on our against us, it's just doesn't even matter. Like, it somehow hits his back foot in his drop, and he's sacked this game.
You know who had a good game was David Mayo.
Yeah.
He had 11 tackles.
Yeah, but tackles
He
don't
let- he-
mean, as a middle linebacker.
Some of them were like 20 yards down the
Yeah, and
field,
also
right?
you don't, that doesn't show his
ability to stop somebody.
well, no, but his coverage ability, because
Right.
he got beat 3 times for like 15-yard passes, like to Darren Waller and stuff. Like he was
you're right.
He was
You're
a
right.
liability in the pass game.
It depends on where they get tackled.
Mayo is a good against the run. Don't get me wrong, he's great against the run, but he is a liability in the pass game.
Okay, let me play one more clip here.
Okay.
He talks about our O-line. He talks about Ron Rivera. I feel like we've that's ground we've already treaded over.
Yeah.
But this is an interesting take here, especially for us older guys here, because it's a Giants perspective on the Super Bowl wins.
Okay, wrapping up. Here's a hot take that you guys can talk about. The Giants have won 4 Super Bowls, Washington 3. But here's what Giants fans always say about this.
Always.
2 of those 3 Washington
Jersey.
Super Bowls came in strike years. In 1982, Washington went 8-1 in the regular season. In 1987, Washington replacement players went 3-0, and the Giants were literally playing guys they picked up at the Port Authority. I'm telling you. Just saying.
Wah, wah, wah. Okay. That just sounds like sour grapes to me.
I've heard
in
that.
strike
I've heard
years
that
we
take
found
a
ways
lot.
to win, and so
I've heard that take a lot.
And everybody
Yeah.
else had the strike year too, so it wasn't
everybody
like an
else had to deal with
advantage.
the same strike we did.
Exactly.
You know what else
exactly.
is funny is I've heard that about 2020 too, when we made the playoffs, that it was COVID.
Yeah.
It's a weird
Right.
year. It doesn't count. It's like,
You know what it is?
well,
It's
We
like
only do well in weird
the
years.
Super Bowl win or the championship NFC East title because of a just a rare asterisk. You know,
Yeah.
a little got an asterisk next to it.
No asterisk on any of those seasons as far as I'm concerned.
No,
do
no.
we have
Super Bowl win
rings?
is a
Do we
Super
have
Bowl
3
win.
rings?
We got rings.
We
We
got
got
the
3
bling. It
rings.
counts.
5 Super Bowl appearances.
I mean, look, if he wants to say we got 1 more Super Bowl than you, okay, that's fair. You know,
Yeah.
but,
Yeah.
He wants to
don't-
say that
don't-
he
don't-
has 2 since we got the last one.
I have an asterisk.
right.
I have an asterisk next to my win at the club championship in my golf tournament at Rancho Park.
Wait, because you were stoned?
No, that's a no. I don't usually play stoned. It's not as
Okay.
fun. I do go to the equalizer when things go bad.
Right, exactly.
So what
What's the
happened
asterisk
was,
for?
well, the asterisk is normally our events were 3-day events for a club championship: Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Cumulative total, best score wins. Well, it turned out that one year it was only going to be a 2-dayer. I had the 2 best scores for the 2 days. I won. And I beat out multiple club championships, but my friends always go, it's got an asterisk. There was only 2 days. I go, yeah, but there was like 3 other times when there was only 2 days as well. What about those guys?
Yeah.
Yes.
My name's on the cup.
Yeah.
The name is on the cup, right?
You got the bling. You got the
ring.
the
But
ring.
Fuck the
There's no
asterisk.
ring, but
You know what?
the
The
jacket,
asterisk,
whatever comes with it.
a win is a win, and
win
we'll
is a
take it
win.
any way we can get.
All right.
All right.
Here's
Does he have one more?
Here, it's just him saying goodbye. This is what we'll wrap it up here with Harry, and this is his last comment. Little stinger.
Anyway, great show, guys. And to wrap up, the Giants will win in November too.
Oh,
yeah,
I
You
believe
gotta
it.
throw something in. Hey,
What do
I
you
thought
expect?
he was very, very easy.
I said he
could
could
have
have spent
a lot.
he could have done some trash talk.
Well, he knew he was coming into an environment that was really not wanted, but
Well, you know,
honestly-
when we originally talked about this, it was like, let's have a Giants fan before we play the Giants, and we can smack talk a little bit back and forth. But the timing didn't work out. So
Shout out
thanks,
Harry.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Harry.
thank
We
you.
appreciate your input, and
No,
thank
that
you,
was
Eddie,
great.
for
Thank
making
you.
that
yeah, and
happen.
Harry, we might have to talk to you in November after we
Yeah.
beat you.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. We'll invite him back. Harry will be back on.
Harry's
Hey, guys.
welcome.
Remember this Philly stretch from Philly to these 3-game bookend and then
Yeah.
Philly again.
Yeah.
Philly was like the bookends of these 3 games: Chicago, Falcons, and the Giants.
Right.
We haven't done very well. in that.
No.
I thought it was going to be at least 3-2.
We
I
were
didn't know
supposed to
where
win
the 2
3 in a
losses
row.
were going to come. But we lost to Philly, we lost to Chicago, we lost to the Giants.
And we have
we
the
lost one.
hardest.
First of all, we lost to the greatest team right now. We lost to Philly already. We should have won that game. The other 2 could have went either way just because of who we are. So I think we should feel pretty good about 3 and 4 right now. I actually feel like we're not last.
Here's what's ironic. When
last.
we were 3-3 before this terrible loss, that was Ron's best start as a head coach. He had never been 3-3 after 6 games. So
Yeah, we usually don't get better until the 7th, 8th, 9th game.
He's only won ever 12 games in the
Yeah.
that's his highest win total.
That's
not
pretty
with
good.
us.
and it's only
He's
been
never-
once. It's only
Yeah.
been once.
Yeah.
When the Super Bowl year,
Mm-hmm.
Well, so I'll tell you, by the way, the Giants game, only Bradley and I picked that as a win. Eddie and Tico correctly picked that as a loss.
Oh, I picked
Now,
it as a loss.
ironically, Eddie
guys
and
didn't check
Tico
the stats.
have Commanders winning next week against Philadelphia, and Bradley and I have that down as a loss. So We'll see. We'll
See.
see. what
Yeah, I
happens.
just have a feeling we might squeak something out.
We might
Wait,
sneak him.
You know why?
could
Because I
see
was
it.
going to tell you, back in
Absolutely
New
could.
York, when I was talking to Harry about New York shit, and I said, "What do you think is going to be persuasive to get Rivera to do what we want him to do?" I got an idea. I know a guy, and I can have him do a little talk.
I know.
Just a little talk, a little discussion this
Uh,
weekend.
Let's make
Nothing
it happen.
fancy, just something a little bit, you know,
And show
something
him
to
the
give him a
business.
little
you
reason
know?
why he should be
There
doing
you go.
things a certain way,
Yeah. You
and
gotta,
have a little more respect for the rest of
Got
the
him.
family.
you gotta respect.
Put some
Ain't
respect
nobody
on his name.
putting yeah, no, but we have the hardest remaining schedule in the NFL.
Really?
Yep.
Oof. Yeah.
Should we move on to commanding
Yeah,
attention,
please,
gentlemen?
let's.
Think
What is
we're
commanding your attention?
we've wrung that
That-
Giants game dry. I have a little something commanding my attention.
Awesome.
It's about the Commanders, but I think it's kind of an interesting tidbit. Have you guys heard that we are the official streak breakers of the NFL? You heard this?
What's a streak
Yep.
breaker?
Streak breaker. So
Yeah.
in 2020, we went ahead and we defeated the 11-0 Steelers.
Yes.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Right.
In 2022, we went ahead and we defeated the 8-0 Philadelphia Eagles. And this year, we've done the most streak breaking of all. We broke the Ravens streak of the preseason wins,
preseason,
24 preseason wins in a row. We broke the Bears streak of
14 losses in a row.
14 losses in a row.
Not a positive one, but go on.
Mm-mm.
The Atlanta, we broke Desmond Ritter's streak of winning at home since high school, since he was at high school. And in this game, we broke two pretty funny streaks. We broke the Giants hadn't scored an offensive touchdown in 16 quarters, I believe, of
Really?
football. And they've scored. Oh no, not
First half.
First quarter
First half,
touchdowns.
Yeah. Okay.
So we broke that, which is, go us. And also the Giants hadn't blocked a field goal since like 1980. No fun.
Wow.
So
I
fun.
hadn't
What a
heard that
fun
one.
streak to break.
Oh,
However,
jeez.
We do have a streak that could be broken coming up this week. And I have it right here. AJ Brown has had
A touchdown.
5 games straight with 125 yards receiving.
Boy, we'd love to break that one, wouldn't we?
Wouldn't that be an awesome streak
What
to
if he
break?
breaks it and does 250 yards and 3 touchdowns?
Oh, jeez.
Okay,
Well,
here's
because I said this to a buddy. I said, if the Eagles are undefeated, we have a chance of beating them. Because we're
Right.
the streak breakers.
That's
The
true.
worst thing that could have happened is them losing a game to the Jets.
Well, here's a
Then we have no
consolation.
chance.
here's a consolation, right? Sam Howell has been moving up in the ESPN passing rankings. He
couldn't
just
have moved up
passed
this
Brock
week.
Purdy, and he's in position number 8, right behind Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, Jared Goff, Matthew Stafford, Patrick Mahomes, Kirk Cousins, and Tua. So
These are yards.
he's
He's
doing
number
some,
8 after this week. He's
This
still
is
number
yards.
8.
This is
He's
yards.
got 1,700. It's his yards. He's got
Yeah.
1,700
This is
yards
Yeah.
passing.
Okay.
But I think his average, though, Teak, I saw the averages were 65% completions,
Mhm.
250-yard average per game, 9 TDs and 7 interceptions, which isn't that bad.
That's total. That's not average. But yeah.
Right.
That's the total, right? Yeah.
And then aside from the dots and drops, I think he's playing okay.
Oh, I wanted to mention this because I don't know if you guys saw this, but the interception was tipped. Official
Ah.
notice. It was tipped.
Okay.
I
Because
kept
it
saying
was
I
a
want to
weird
see
shot.
that again.
It was it was very barely tipped. But that's all it needed. It just
Took the
had a little
velocity off
took
of
the,
it, yeah.
took the air off of it. Yeah. And I
Oh,
was gonna
good.
say, I think we talked about this a while ago, and I actually don't think this tip was on Sam Howell because he had some tips that he cleaned up early in the
Mhm.
season. And I
Mhm.
said, if he keeps getting the ball tipped, it's gonna be intercepted.
And what does that
Yeah.
come from? Being 6 foot tall, maybe?
Maybe.
What is he?
It's-
6'1", right? He's 6'1".
Yeah, could we
He's
put
6'1",
lips
but
in his,
the tips is one of
lips in his
those
cleats?
height issues. Yeah.
It is a height issue, but O linemen are taught to, when they see D linemen go up, push them to the ground because they get off balance. If you go up, you lose your push them. Just push them, and they can't get up.
Seems plausible. Seems
Seems
easy.
plausible. Not to our team
Right.
though. Not
You
to our
should be a
team.
defensive line coach. I mean,
Any I know,
offensive
right?
line coach.
Any other anything else commanding our attention this week?
The Baltimore Ravens had a nice game, man.
Beautiful. They're a contender.
They
That's nice.
lost. They should not be 5-2 right
Yeah.
now. They
Yeah.
should be 7-0.
Well, they should be
I-
at least 6-1.
At
I-
least
That game
6-1.
last week was like the week prior to this week.
Mhm.
Their wide receivers couldn't catch a ball. I
That
mean, I
was the
think they
one
had
that
like
was in
and
London
they-
or something, wasn't it?
yeah,
Yeah.
they couldn't
Yeah,
catch. They had like 7. or
Those
8
are weird
drops.
games
It's
too
a weird
because you
game.
got to get up at strange hours. and,
Yeah, it is weird.
You
know.
You know, I like to see Baltimore do well. You go back home, back east, and there's this bit of rivalry tension.
Yeah.
Washington, Baltimore, I don't know. I like to see Baltimore do. Where I grew up, and you Tico, right smack in the middle of Baltimore and Washington.
Yep.
You know, I used
Could
to
have
tell
gone either
people,
way.
you put a pin in a map between Baltimore and Washington, you're probably going to put it on
Why
Laurel,
couldn't you have
Maryland.
just? Why couldn't you have just like the Ravens instead? I could have grown up being in a happy household with the Super
When we were
Bowl.
growing up, it was the Colts, by the way. So,
Oh, really?
Oh, you got a little Redskin pencil or
Found
something?
an archive. Someone called me or texted me and said, I found something in my drawer and I don't know where it came from. It must be yours. And I'm like, I've never been to your house. And this is a Redskin pencil.
Well,
an
as much
actual-
the pencil is commanding our attention. Clearly,
This is what commanded my
It's
attention.
commanding Eddie's attention, at least.
And you know how like
You're
when
trying to
somebody,
hypnotize us.
when somebody needs to be hypnotized, yeah, we need
Yeah.
to hypnotize Rivera and say, look, you've been with us for 4 years. You
Five.
definitely did some motivating, but the attention that you need to command is motivation.
It's moving on.
Get these guys fucking motivated and stop with the friggin' nonsense play calling.
yeah.
All right. Did you have a second thing, Bradley? I thought you had two.
That was it.
No?
I
Oh, that's
it was my math problem about
Oh, okay.
the O lines, the 2 O lines, and how that we're giving up more sacks than Giants. Couch boys.
And Tico, did Colorado even play this weekend? I don't even know what happened. Was there?
They got a well-deserved rest.
Okay, yeah. Maryland was off this weekend as well. So
They're going to play UCLA Saturday.
All right. Well, let's talk about this upcoming Philadelphia game. It's.
I think we know what that is. That's a non-conversation to me. It's like,
Well, our
like
job here,
really, like
job
really,
here.
I think
as
we ought to wrap this
podcasters
show up as quick as possible.
Is
save our face and get out of here.
What would it take? What would it take for the Commanders to win this game?
Yes.
All right,
Okay,
I'm
that's
going
a
to do
good
something.
question.
Oh, go ahead. I'm going to do something.
Go,
along
Eddie.
the lines
Let's hear
of
it, Eddie.
Eagles.
Yeah.
I was thinking along the lines of, something about me likes the Eagles, and I don't know why. I've always liked the team, but I know why. Because the Eagles are also a name of a great band, and that band has a zillion songs that relate to what we should be doing for our preparation against the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, I don't know if we can
enlighten
do
us.
I don't know. Can we actually play songs? And
I think you should sing it. You should
Yeah,
sing it. We'll be all right with
Well,
copyright.
first of all, I want people to understand that we need to take it easy, right? Go into this game. Take it easy. I don't know. Can we even play that?
I think you should just sing it. Just sing it. Just sing it.
Well, that's Richie Woman, but
We can't even hear it.
It's
you can't hear it. It won't work.
Tico's got the voice. He'll
There you
he'll underscore.
Yeah. So we got take it easy because you're just trying to get down the road, loosen your load. Got a lot of women on your mind, but you guys need to throttle it back. Take it easy. We're going into Philly. No, they're coming to us, right?
Yes.
They're coming to us.
All
this
right,
time,
so they're
yeah.
coming to us. We got Philly coming to us. Okay. Then we also got to be thinking that this is going to be one of those nights. It's going to be one of these nights where we're going to
One of these nights. One of these crazy
crazy
nights.
All right. And then, you know, if we lose, it's fine because you know what? You wake up in the morning, you have another tequila sunrise, right? And then we'll go into our next week up against New England, and we're going to know that we're going to need that peaceful, easy feeling because Belichick is tough, right? So let's not be desperado.
This is a great bit. This is a great
we know that, you know, the Eagles are a tough team, but I think they're just hiding behind lion eyes.
All right, so Eddie, why don't you
can have.
If we win this
Why don't
game,
you
though,
do
we'll be
it?
living life in the fast lane. I'm going to tell you that right now.
Right, we will.
talking
Life in
no
the
offense,
fast
no offense to
lane.
Chris Olave. Okay, so Eddie, why don't you go ahead and for those of you who don't know, Chris Olave just got arrested for driving 35 miles per over the speed limit this week.
Good
And
pull,
said,
B.
"Well, but I play for the Saints," and the cop said, "And."
Nice.
So, Eddie, why don't you go ahead and give us your first of our 4 commandments, where we give you the 4 things that we think will be able to win us the game against Philadelphia.
I thought that
I'm
was
going
it.
first. Okay. Take it easy. No.
I think
No,
we've
I
been
think we
taking it
just,
easy already.
Thou shalt not listen to the media and listen to all the announcers
Probably good.
and everybody slamming us on how bad we are and how we lost to the lowly Giants and how we lost to the lowly Chicago Bears. You know, forget all that stuff. It's games, what, 8 we're going into? We're underneath the middle of the season. We got the toughest schedule. Just go in and fucking play hard football. So my commandment is thou shalt play commander football hard and shut everybody up.
I do really like that because I think that there's 2 ways that you could respond from a start to the season like this. And one is taking the losses on the chin and fighting back from it. And the other one is kind of the how I feel is the rest of the season is a wash and we need to start rebuilding. And let's see how the players react and the coaches. So I think that's a really, really good point, Eddie.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. You want to go next, B?
Sure. Again, just, don't have one ready, but
you need more time.
I'll be all right. Why don't we do this? Thou shall break AJ Brown's streak.
Oh,
and not let him get over 125 yards. I'm really keyed on making sure that the big plays are really killing us, because it feels like in the running game, we seem to be able to stop the running game. The Bears game, I think, is an enigma in that sense, where we just were unable to stop Khalil Herbert.
Can you add an amendment to your commandment? You need to amend it because it's not just AJ Brown. Let's not forget Julio.
Right. And
Julio Jones is also looking for some record that he can say that he's caught zillion yards against us as well.
Yeah. But yeah, I think we've done good against the run. I think we're able to, those short passes, like, they beat us, but for some reason it's just the big plays that are killing us in every single game. I think there was a stat that the announcer said that the Giants had like 6 or 7 plays over 20 yards for the first time this season, and they were averaging like 2 or something like that. That's for the rest of the season. It's like we just are unable to stop big plays from happening. And
do we have 9 players on the field or something?
Yeah, seriously. I just think that we need to at least limit those. And so that's a part of this, that thou shalt not let the big plays happen, but thou shalt also not break AJ Brown's streak. All right, that's mine.
Okay. D, you want to go? Or you want me to take it? Okay. I've got look, this was the key last year when we beat them. I think that was last year. Thou shalt control the time of possession. But mine goes on. Thou shalt control the time of possession using screen passes and not just on 3rd and long, short passes and runs. Okay. I mean, those there just needs to be more creativity. I like the going down the field plays, but it just feels like it's every freaking play. That's all he's got in his playbook. So mix it up with screen passes, short passes, and run game. And I think we can control the time of possession. And thou must control the time of possession.
Thou shalt get the ball to Terry McLaurin at least 10 times.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, if it's more than
Right.
2.3 seconds, that should be no problem.
Mm-hmm.
We got to get them to block. Thou shalt find an offensive line that can play.
In the next few years.
I just did 2. Donnie, you want to use that one? You
Thou
need a double
shalt,
hit with the
thou
whole
I
shalt
line.
did mine.
use the trade deadline to acquire some players because we've never done that ever.
I don't
Right,
foresee
who we're
that
going to get rid
happening,
of?
Yeah.
Who are we going to get rid of?
Chase Young and Montez Sweat.
I think we could get rid of
Trade 'em.
one of them for a first round draft pick, and I think I would let Sweat go before Chase.
Chase, yeah. I think Chase will cost more next year, though.
I'm-
To be honest,
Yeah.
because he's a first round. He's a second pick overall. Montez is also a first round, but
And Chase might get us more in a trade.
yes.
Than Sweat, I think.
All right. Well, thank you all for tuning in. That's a wrap for this episode of Command West. We hope you had just as much fun listening as we did bringing you the latest and the greatest on the Burgundy and Gold. Please don't forget to hit that subscribe button, tune in next week, comment below your thoughts on the O-line, Ron Rivera, AJ Brown, the streak beaters, and what you thought of Harry. Thank you, Harry. And
Harry.
Thanks
Thank
to
you,
our
Harry,
special
for-
guest, Terry.
Making us obviously embarrassed.
embarrassed. Thank you so
Did
much.
we have fun?
Yeah, like I said,
you know,
You mentioned fun. What,
We had fun.
We
I had
said
fun
that.
bringing it to you.
I'm sorry if I got a
had
little
fun
bit.
Sunday.
We had
Sunday.
seasons.
Got to do an Eagles song, right? Or
Yeah.
see, there's no Redskins songs, is there?
All right. Goodbye.
How's
Uh,
it?
All right, guys.
We love you.